Greetings, fellow weaponsmith. Well, maybe not a weaponsmith as per se, more like a weapon modder, weapon changer, weapon rearranger. Well, anyway, one of the big new things in Alpha 17 is the change in weapon handling, both melee as well as ranged weapons. The Fun Pimps are looking to give the game a richer experience for fighting by expanding it in various ways to make the zombie slaying a lot more rewarding. And you know what? I think that's actually a really good idea. Sure, it's come a long way in building, decorating, painting, the survival aspects of crafting, exploration, but combat has not really evolved much for a long time. Melee is basic. You rush in, you attack, you withdraw, or you just joust by rushing past and bashing them as you circle around and repeat. Or you stand behind a pole wall and stab/bash zombies as they glitch through. Ranged combat isn't much better. The variety of weapons is pretty low. You have the bow, crossbow, and some hand weapons and rifles, shotguns, and of course the sniper and compound bow. And of course, beyond the sniper and compound bow, it's all basic iron sights. And you shoot, reload, and well, there's not really a lot of depth to it. In itself, that's somewhat peculiar considering how integral combat is to a zombie game. Sure, you have the headshots and blowing those apart, but it's not really a lot. But all of that is changing. We're getting power moves for melee, requiring more stamina but increasing chances of critical hits and dismemberment. You have HP bars for the enemies to give it a more rich melee feeling. Manuel outlines some of these ideas, so let's listen to what he has to say.
So much attention to detail, just all kinds of little stuff. So anyway, I've got more to show you, but there's a few bugs that cropped up last minute, so I can't. But I'm going to show you, or next time I'm going to show you guys the new power attack and new melee animations. So basically, you'll be able to do a power attack with your mouse, and you'll use way more stamina. It's going to inflict more damage, and all your criticals and dismemberments chances are going to be higher for those power attacks. So it's going to make combat feel a lot more involved rather than just kind of run in and spam your mouse and try to get away all the time. So you're going to want to get in there, do a power attack, knock them on their ass, and then finish them with more power attacks. But you'll also run the risk of running out of stamina, which is going to, could get you into trouble if there's too many zombies around. So, but, pretty much power attacking a guy that's down is going to deal, massive damage and a critical. So all that stuff is moved to power attack now. So you'll have your regular attack, which is okay for conservative combat or you're out of stamina. But, if you want to inflict massive damage, you're going to want to use a power attack. So anyway, I'll demonstrate all that soon as we get those couple little bugs fixed. It's pretty cool. So stay tuned, and that video will hopefully be out soon, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
So all that sounds really cool with a lot of changes going into the melee. Manuel also shows off a bit of the animation and how this really works in this next video.
Next up, I want to show you guys the new animations. So we've got a power attack. So you got your regular attack like you guys have always had, where you left click like this, and it does a little damage. But if you right click, it'll use more stamina. It might not currently because it's not tuned in yet, but it's working. So if you right click, it plays a different animation, and it takes a bigger chunk of their health away. If I can hit the thing. There we go. And then we're planning on all the critical hits being moved to the power attack, which should be right click on the mouse. So, and then to show you guys some of the animation stuff in third person, we've improved all the melee attacks. So here's your regular attack. This guy looks like a badass. I'm coming to get you. Then your power attack is he puts his whole body into it more. And he plays kind of a grunt sound when he swings. So that's going to be pretty cool. allow you to have a lot more diverse combat. You're going to use more stamina doing the power attacks, but you're going to inflict way more damage, and you know, you can maybe put yourself at risk by, you know, using too much stamina from doing too many successive power attacks in a row. So yeah, pretty cool.
So as you heard, Madmo does mention a critical piece of information, pun intended, that critical hits will only be for power attacks. So you will definitely be looking at using these power attacks to dismember and bash in skulls and to finish off zombies, even though the hit registration seems to be fairly poor right now. But I'm assuming that's just temporary. I couldn't imagine hitting a moving zombie, let alone a running one at night, if it is as tough as it was with a stationary zombie. But let's move into them weapon mods. An issue with range fighting has always been that normally you use your Magnum, shotgun, or AK close up, and always the sniper at a distance due to the variable scope. And of course you have the bow and the crossbow at short and medium range. But it's never felt very satisfying, I think, except for when you do some headshots and you blow the heads up or you dismember. But this is all changing. Late last year, Madmo gave an early first look at how the mod system would look.
But yeah, I guess I could have rays going kind of anywhere in here, inside this zone, which isn't going to do a whole lot of damage. But let me shut him off for a little bit, and let's modify the shotgun. All right, so I'm going to put the duckbill on. I don't even know what it does. I mean, I know in theory what it does. But I haven't used it yet. So it's supposed to tighten up the spread. Oh yeah, it flattens it out like a duckbill. See that? So if you had like 3 or 4 guys here, they were all lined up. Let me try to put another one here. See how this works. In theory, I might be able to get both these guys in the head with this duckbill modifier, because see how it flattens it out? Yeah, look at that. Now you can tell I hit that guy in the head. But yeah, it basically it squishes it down. I mean, we can have it tighten it up, just like your standard choke. Nice ragdoll there. And then the other mod here is a magazine extender. Let's see. So over here, yeah, assemble this bad boy. See if it has 2 slots. Yeah, this one has 2 slots. The other guy, I was trying to show this other earlier and playing around with it. And the lower quality weapons have less mod slots. So now we've got 2 mods installed. Magazine extender, like I said, it needs a new icon and naming and properties, and this is just proof of concept. But let me reload this bad boy now. Maybe not. What happened? Yeah, I got ammo. No, it worked earlier. I don't know, it extended the amount of ammo it had.
As always, first looks are early and it just shows the concept, but it gives a good idea of what they're looking for with mods and how it would work in the game. Weapons each have mod slots, lower quality has less, but it replaces the current system of assembling weapons from the parts in favor of different mods like sights, magazines, and barrels. You also get a look at the HP bars of the zombies, although the jury is still out on that one. Some people already say that they want to be able to disable that in the XMLs so that they don't have to see it. As you can see, there's also some issues with the implementation, but again, it is early on. Another small but cute addition was to have arrows stick out of enemies. As to how valuable that is, it's debatable, but it looks pretty cool. If nothing else, it will allow for more atmosphere. I wish you could have arrows stick in blocks so you could have an archery range and actually use the target paint texture for real competition. Let's have a look at that one.
Last up, we've got arrows that now stick to their targets. So you can see where the arrow, hit the guy. Should be pretty awesome. It's gonna, just those little things, they all add up and add some immersion. Wow, that guy's twitching over there. Look, a twitcher. Watch the little Dawn of the Dead. That was always one of my favorite lines from that movie. I seen that the other day. Another biker here. Right in the butt. Isn't that awesome? Get to see where you hit him. Oops. The sun was in my eye. Likely excuse, right?
But wait, let's go back to some of the recent developments of the weapon mods, as it seems to be shaping up really nicely. One of the team put out a video of a red dot functionality testing, a red dot sight that is. While the accuracy seems quite poor for using a scope, that's something they can always tighten. It does seem to be too wide a crosshair for the short range that it is being shot at. It doesn't at all play as you would expect from tight weapon handling in games like Battlefield, but it gives a really nice view of how it's coming together. No more only using the iron sights. Madwall also recently updated, mentioning that the quality of the weapons is changing, with them keeping the color ranges, but having tiers instead, and not the individual 0 to 600 quality figures on weapons, but just having the color tiers. So you will have tier 1 to 6 kind of thing, I guess, but no, quality 135 or 356, but just going to be the different color ranges. It does seem to be a little bit of dumbing down the system, which got some concerns raised on the forums, but I think it's a little bit too early to see how that will play out. Maybe it's needed for how they implement weapons and mods, but it is a kind of a big change compared to how it worked previously. Let's hear from what Madwall has to say.
It's Joel from the Fun Pimps, and we're here to show you some improvements to the weapon mod system we've been working on. It's pretty awesome. Basically, here's a vanilla pistol, quality level 4 or 4 tier. We're getting rid of all the, we're still gonna have the color ranges, but we're gonna get rid of this number and just have a color range. So there's not gonna be like a 1 quality brown isn't gonna be any worse than a 99 quality brown. We're getting rid of that. So it's just kind of a fixed tier. So we've got the same amount of tiers as before, but we're getting into that granular difference between them. So, but basically, here's your vanilla pistol. Let's see, it holds 15 rounds. Got your standard fire rate and no mods. So I'm going to go ahead and modify it, and I want to put a scope on it. Boom. So now we've got the scope on here, which should make it a little better to, a little bit better to deal with enemies. Let's see here. Need to spawn some stuff. All right, let's get our lean in there. So this improves my accuracy, because without this mod, there's kind of a spread. Like you can see the spread here on this weapon. So if I shoot, anything, it's pretty much going to land in that cone, and then the iron sight, you're going to get a smaller cone. But like when I'm stop moving, or if I crouch, that cone narrows. That's for hip fire, it's much more accurate when you're iron sighting. So I've got this pistol, and it's got a scope on it now, which gives you a magnified view, which is awesome. We've got all kinds of different scopes. This is just one from the asset store. We'll probably remodel it, but it's just an example of getting something in the game so we can kind of see it and feel it and play around with it. And to you modders, the scope, you can basically adjust it via XML. So you could position a model, scale it. Any kind of mod can be positioned and scaled and moved anywhere, on the weapon. So it's pretty awesome. So you can add different visual mods to the game. So let's go ahead and modify it a little more. Assemble. Now I'm going to put on a fully automatic trigger assembly or trigger group. And then let's do a rod and spring. We can just show you right now what we've got. I'm just pressing and holding, instead of it being click, 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 as fast as you could click, But if you want a really fast fire rate, go ahead and assemble, and we're going to put this rod and spring replacement on there. And now my fire rate is going to be substantially better. So as you can see, it's pretty freaking cool. Wrapped. And we have one last mod to add to this weapon. And we're going to put on magazine extenders. So now I'm going to reload. And now we're holding 22 rounds, which is totally badass. Which, you know, kind of helps when you have a lot of zombies to kill. You know, that reload can get you into trouble at times, so, you know, being able to have a larger magazine capacity is pretty awesome. And there's like a 4x scope. This is just a 2x hollow scope. I think that's what it's called. So let's go ahead and modify this AK a little bit. Put this. So here's, you know, your standard AK behavior. You know, you zoom in. You've just got your iron sights. You know, and get a few stags running around. You know. Run, buck. Yeah, get out of here. There we go. So, you know, you've got kind of limited range and shooting capabilities. With this, yeah, I'm not even probably, yeah, I hit that one. So let's go ahead and modify this. Put this better scope on. Boom, now I've got this scope. There we go. Crouch down, get a little more accuracy. Come on. He might be out of range. We're going to put on a... Oh, no, he's not. Awesome. There's no way I could have got that without that scope on there. So, you know, on a bigger magazine, whatever mods you guys want to put on here, there's going to be tons of mods. I'm just showing you guys a few. So now I've got 30 rounds, which would be pretty awesome.
So you see immediately that they've tightened up the spread when using the scope, which makes a lot more sense. It's pointless to have a big spread and a scope, as you'll never hit what you aim at anyhow, even at a pretty short distance. And they've made it modular in how you use the weapon mods, including how it's shown on the character visually, as you can see how Madball shows the scope on the pistol. The addition of making fully automated weapons, increased firing rate and so on is really nice. I think it will allow people to truly mod a weapon to work the way they want it to depending on their playstyle. But it's really encouraging, as just adding scopes, laser sights, barrels and what have you should be making the whole feel of it so much more intense, and would allow a wider variety of playstyles being possible depending on what weapons and mods you find, but also what you decide to bring with you when you go exploring. Another more technical aspect of this is that all this is accomplished through XML modding. There's not going to be all these different items in the game for different qualities of different types of weapon mods. Rather, it's an item with lots of XML specifications instead, which makes it more extensible while also ensuring that it doesn't bloat the game needlessly. As Kinjayu posted on the forums, the system can also be extended to any item in the game, and not just tools and weapons. How that really ends up being in the game will be interesting to see, but I think at least it's a great start. Even something straightforward as coloring and tinting items in the game would be cool, like painting your door or drawbridge or putting something else on it, maybe some decorative items on them, such as hanging something off your mini bike or changing your traps. I think it would be a cool addition if all that would be accessible in XML files. Of course, some might not want to be carrying around a pink AK-47, but maybe some would be. There's still time to go before Alpha 17 comes out, so I wouldn't be surprised if they showcase more of the weapons as they put them in the game. It will be very interesting to see whether they will have, say, multiple assault rifles as a base weapon, which you then mod, of course within reason, or whether there will be one assault rifle and all of its attributes for handling will then be based on the mods that it contains. In other words, if you want to have a heavy-hitting AK-47, you mod it that way, or if you want to have a more accurate but lighter assault rifle with better ammo capacity, for instance, then you mod it differently to achieve that. And the same will of course go for the other weapons. Automatic shotgun? Why not? Now, most of this is looking all good. I do hope that beyond all this new fancy stuff they put in, that they don't overlook the crafting and survival aspects. Being able to craft your mods, for instance, and even how you handle putting them on and taking them off weapons, I think is important. I've always thought that games like PUBG has too quick mod switching. It's a second of drag and drop and you've got a new scope on, so there's no penalty incurred in something which should be a substantial change. Maybe switching out a scope should give it a 10-second assembly time in the field. Maybe to do a trigger and barrel change, you need to first craft a weapon bench and do the change there. And again, not a split-second change, but something which maybe takes a few minutes depending on the skill and the proficiency. Doing it that way, I think, would enrich the other aspects tied to the combat, namely the survival bits. No longer would you be able to go out and find an automatic fire mod and 2 seconds later, you've upgraded your pistol into a machine pistol on the field. Maybe even while fighting a bunch of zombies around you. I don't think that would be a very good way of doing it. It just doesn't make sense. So what are your thoughts on the new weapon modding system? What are you excited about? And how would you like it modded or tweaked or designed to further provide not just depth to the game, but make it more fun to play at the same time? Let me know in the comment section below, and thank you for liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time.
Special thanks to the great patrons supporting the channel. If you would like to join the vetted community and support these videos, do follow the Patreon link below.